Speaking of which, the AG is calling this domestic terrorism. You mentioned the fact that if it is politically based, in other words, you're doing it because of a political message. So when you look at this scenario, could she actually go after anyone who is caught burning up a Tesla?
So I don't think anyone who's caught burning up a Tesla, but I think when you have this type of approach, where it seems to be that Teslas are on fire, they're blowing up, there are signs that say, defy or what have you, it presents a problem. Every case, Sarah, is a fact-by-fact inquiry, depending upon the facts, the circumstances, the nature of the offense. But when you have wholesale destruction, no matter what you think about Elon Musk, whether you're a fan or not a fan, the issue is, are you, in terms of domestic terrorism, let's define it, are you doing through an act of destruction or violence something that is designed to intimidate or influence people, the civilian population? And that's pretty troubling.
On the subject of Elon Musk, there's been all kinds of vandalism against Teslas and Tesla dealerships all over the country. Las Vegas, Kansas City, Encinitas, Buffalo Grove, Littleton, Mass. I grew up right next to Littleton, Mass. Loveland, Colorado, Tigard, Oregon, all over the place. Musk was asked about all of this on television tonight. Listen to what he said.
I always thought the left, or Democrats, were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring, and yet they're burning down cars, they're firebombing dealerships, they're firing bullets into dealerships. I think we just have a deranged, there's some kind of mental illness thing going on here. I think there are larger forces at work as well. I mean, I don't know who's funding it and who's coordinating it, because this is crazy.
Actually, I'm sure.
1,000%, excuse me, 1,000%. And before we get into what Scott Jennings had to say, because boy, man, does he cook this young lady that decided to join the CNN panel. Before we get into that, yeah, I do believe this is domestic terrorism, and I do believe this is organized, right? I mean, this is coordinated. There is somebody who, behind the scenes, who is putting a lot of money behind all of this. Obviously, we saw the funding for USAID be basically completely gutted and wiped out. Trump is trying to end the war between Ukraine and Russia, which I believe a lot of that money has been funneled back to America in some way, shape, or fashion. We heard Zelensky say that he's only received half of the money. So where's the other half? We're talking about billions of dollars. Where's the other half? Where did it go? Who has it? Where is it sitting? Where is it hidden? Right? So of course the left is angry. The powers that are behind the scenes trying to pull the strings, they're very angry because the money train, the gravy train, has been cut off. And I think some evidence of that gravy train is how Kamala was able to spend $2 billion in 3 months. Like, what? A record amount of money in 3 months? And I think it was actually over $2 billion. It was like $2.5 billion. It's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. Positively insane. Talk about Act Blue and the work that James O'Keefe has been doing and figuring out that these people that have been donating, it actually wasn't them. It was just donations coming through under their name. So where was this money actually coming from? This is just all of this stuff. So I'm not completely surprised that this stuff is happening, because once you hit someone in their pockets, that's when they get very, very angry. So let's hop into this clip with Scott Jennings, because boy, I've never seen Scott Jennings get this angry. I've never seen him get this angry. And he's obviously faced entire panels that were completely against him, where we check out videos together and I'm over here shaking my head. You guys are probably shaking your head like, bro, this is nuts. What this guy has to go up against on a daily basis is just absolutely crazy. But man, does he cook in this clip right here. So with that being said, let's dive in.
Sure, he's got lots of evidence for that.
Look, I will be consistent on this. I don't think vandalism, I don't think violence is what you do to make your point. I've said that around January 6th. I've said it around protests, and I'll say it here. Do I agree what Elon Musk is doing?
Did you say that about the BLM riots? I wonder. I doubt it.
With Doge? No. But what I would encourage people, and I don't even know if the folks who are doing the vandalism are actual Democrats or Republicans, but they're people who want to destroy our democracy as well. This is what I will tell folks. In moments like this, if you are so enraged that you want to act on something, you have a representative, you have a senator in Congress that doesn't have to be there any longer. You should go tell them that you are disgusted, to Michael's point, that you don't like that they are not taking their congressional responsibility to heart and challenging the president and say, let us pass this law, let us repeal back this funding. But taking it with vandalism, don't agree with it, don't associate it with it. It shouldn't be a part of the Democratic brand. It shouldn't be part of the Republican brand. It's not an American brand.
So doubtful it's Republicans attacking Tesla dealerships around the country. It's pretty wild, actually. The other night, Donald Trump said these are domestic terrorists. Everybody laughed about it and scoffed at it. That video looks like terrorism to me. I mean, it's obviously an organized, coordinated effort, however people are communicating with each other, to do this to people around the country who chose to buy a Tesla at some point in the past, many of whom I'm sure are Democrats who bought them in the first place, all because their entire political worldview is ruled by their emotions. And that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous. It is terrorism. People ought to be put in jail and left there for a very long time and be taught a lesson.
So when they do it to a Tesla dealership, it's really bad. But when they do it to the halls of Congress, we should pardon them. Is that your position?
Let him cook! Let him cook now! I said let him cook!
No, I've never. I don't
Are
support.
we okay with the January 6th pardons?
I know you haven't been around for a while, so let me educate you about my position about January the 6th.
I'm so sorry.
Let me
I'm
educate.
so sorry.
Let me
You don't
educate
need
you.
to-
No,
you
no,
don't
no.
need to
No, you don't
patronize
need to.
me.
You don't. You don't.
I'm
And
just
you don't need to be
saying-
condescending to
I'm
me.
not
So let me
condescending.
educate you about my position. You want to attack me? Let me
I'm
finish
just
it. Let me
asking you-
finish
I'm
it.
just asking you
Let
a
me
question.
finish.
Let's do this January
I'm just
6th
asking
and
you
then
a
near
question.
it.
I'm sorry you're getting emotional.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're a condescending person who hasn't been paying attention to what I do.
Okay.
Stop, guys.
So here's the issue. I didn't support what happened on January the 6th and was one of the first Republicans to call it out. I don't support the pardons. I have repeatedly, just like my friend Ashley here, said that no violence in our political system is acceptable. But this right here, what's going on with a guy who helps our country, who runs successful companies, who doesn't have to be doing this, and now one of his companies is under systematic terroristic threat and violence all over the country, and people seem to be laughing about it or fine with it, it's outrageous. I've sat at this table and had people say, we should cut Elon Musk from the government totally. He rescued our astronauts today. Is that what we want?
Bing, 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 bing. They don't want to talk about all of the good that Elon has done, like rescuing our astronauts, which he interestingly offered to do while Biden was still in office. But of course, Biden didn't want to because it would have looked bad politically for the Democrats. All they cared about politics. They didn't care about the actual people that were stranded. We also saw that with North Carolina. We saw the same situation happen. And I made a video on this. These people basically didn't receive help until Trump got in office. Why? Because in that part of North Carolina, it was mainly red. It was mainly people who were going to vote for Trump. So they didn't help them. But yet they want to tell us that the Democrat Party is about the people. Bullshit. I saw this from a mile away. Matter of fact, I think I made 2 videos on it. 2 whole videos. Prove me wrong. If any Democrat is watching, prove me wrong. They left the people of Western North Carolina stranded on purpose. On purpose. Because you can't tell me that we didn't have the money or the funding. You can't tell me that we didn't have the resources in order to help these people. I played all the video clips. We got the footage. Why did it take so long for them people to get help? Simple. Because they weren't voting for the right party. These Democrats aren't people that actually care about folks. You just heard this chick right here try to make an excuse for them being domestic terrorism, burning down Tesla. Well, but January 6th, what about January 6th? You mean to tell me a bunch of people running into a building is going to overtake a government? When we have bombs the size of buses, make that make sense. If that's how easy it is to overthrow the United States government, let me tell you something. We're fucked. If all you got to do is run into a building and yell, shout, and scream and possibly destroy a couple of desks, break a couple of windows, and you've overthrown the American government, yeah, we're fucked. According to Democrats, right? They tried to overthrow the government. We have bombs the size of buses, and people running inside of a building with no guns are going to overthrow the government. Really? Come on now. Like, it makes 0 sense. 0 sense. Should people be running in and vandalizing things? No, duh. It's common sense. But are they overthrowing a government? No. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. There's probably weaponry that the United States government and military has that would make our minds, like, it would fry our brains, literally and figuratively, probably, right? You know, so come on now. Let's be real here. Let's be real. Stuff is ridiculous, man.
The treatment of this guy is outrageous. These people who are doing this need to be found, put in jail, and made an example of. That's my point.
Anyone who commits violence against Tesla or Congress or anyone else should be put in jail, 1,000%. But that should not stifle dissent or opposition from Elon Musk.
Give it a little lip service. Give it a little both sides. Go
No,
ahead.
no, okay.
so John-
We're still both sides here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to say that people are legitimately upset. They're legitimately upset
And
at
it-
Elon Musk,
they're
and they're doing it
legitimate?
on their own. But there's
And you're allowed to be upset. Nobody is saying that you can't be upset. We were all upset with what was the company? Crap. Well, Bud Light. Did we go around destroying Bud Light, taking all the cans off the shelves and throwing them on the ground, destroying other people's property? No, we just stopped buying it. Stop buying it. And still nobody buys it to this day. I believe it's Bud Light, right? I believe it was Bud Light. I'm not a beer drinker anyway, so, you know, I rarely drink beer, and even when I did buy beer, it definitely wasn't Bud Light, so it was easy for me to be like, nope, no, not buying that. But once again, did we destroy property? No, not at all. We didn't take Bud Light off the shelves and throw it on the ground and cut open all the boxes and just make a whole mess of things for grocery stores and businesses. No, we didn't. We said, you know what? We just won't buy it. And we still don't buy it to this day. They still haven't recovered. Still haven't recovered to this day. That's what we do. But yet they want to accuse us of being the party of violence. Really? If you don't like Elon, just don't buy a Tesla. It's common sense. It's really simple. It's not complicated. This isn't rocket science. If you don't like it, don't buy it. But of course, they can't just do that because they're the party of violence. They're the party of hate. It's not us. It's them. Simple. I mean, the proof is right in front of us.
There's no reason to have violence in the country, but I just wish all of us would support criticism of, or would support punishing people who are violent wherever they are.
For what I
and not
understand, the
letting them
Teslas
out
will
of jail.
fall apart if you just leave them alone anyway. Yeah. There's nothing really anybody really needs to do about it. Just drive them enough. Eventually, the things will start to just like
I do think
fall off the side. From what I've read, allegedly.
One thing that would, and I don't actually think anybody was both siding this, is I think one of the ways to actually move past this is not to I don't know who these people are. I don't associate with them as Democrats. They're wrong. I don't know who the January 6 people were. You don't associate with them as Republicans. They're wrong. And that is the fact. That is it. Right is right, is wrong is wrong. And I think when we try to over-politicize things, that's when tensions get high. And that's where we are in this country. Both sides feel unseen, unheard, and they're taking violence to express themselves. And that's not what we should be about.
Both sides. Goodness gracious. Wow. Holy fuck. Can't make this stuff up, guys. Both sides are bringing up violence. Where's all of the violence from the right? Where is it? Can anybody find it? I don't see it. I don't. So where is it? I'm confused. I'm lost. Can anybody point me in the direction of all of this violence from the right? Can anybody? If you can, I'll denounce it, of course. Of course, absolutely. That's stupid. But can anybody point it out to me? Because there's so much violence from the right. All they have is one instance. One. And they keep going back to it. And then when they do go back to it, they take it to the absolute extreme. They were trying to overthrow the government. They were overthrowing the government. Really? Stop it with the nonsense. Stop it. But anyway, shout out to Scott Jennings, man. He definitely deserves a huge raise for the BS he has to put up with on a daily basis. But that's just me. And all of these folks that are destroying Teslas and doxing Tesla owners and all of this other stuff, yeah, should be thrown in jail. 20 to life. With the possibility of a parole, of course. You can get out eventually, but not anytime soon. But that's just my humble opinion. What's yours? Peace and love. I'm out.